taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel V. Hill.
Holy cow, it is actually freezing inside of my house. This is the first time where I'm like, oh, winter is coming. I guess we should probably be aware of that considering November is literally days away. Halloween tomorrow, which is exciting. There's tons to get into. But of course, we're going to be looking back at the Panthers game between the Broncos and the Panthers on Sunday, talking about the win, which was nice. But I feel like everybody's kind of shifting their focus already to the Ravens. Like that was a game that they should have won. They won. They should have won probably in a greater fashion. But as Sean Payton has talked about time and time again, it did bite them a little bit in the butt when it came to the turnover. So there's plenty to dive into. There's plenty of good things, plenty of players to highlight as well. But we're also going to get into a little trade deadline talk. I really want to do like a full episode, but I did promise today on your Denver Sports Daily that I would give you who I think the Broncos should be targeting, or maybe not who I think the Broncos should be targeting, but what position I think they should be looking at when it comes to the trade deadline, which is next Tuesday on election night. It's crazy that we're already here. November is rolling. Thanks for the comments. Keep them coming, you guys. There's tons to dive into. We're going to be looking at a lot of stats as well, which is always very, very fun. But let's start off with just somebody who deserves some credit, because I feel like every single time the defense was out there, I saw this guy. And it's been a while since we've done the 10 observations. We used to have a graphic that went on this side of the screen, and I want to change it up. I didn't really like how it looked, so I was like, you know what? We're not even going to do that today. We're going to try it a different way. You guys tell me how you're feeling about it. But let's talk about some guy who I haven't touched on a whole lot, because it feels like everybody and their mother is talking about this guy. If you remember before I left, I was talking about Jonathan Cooper a ton, and everybody was like, Rachel loves Jonathan Cooper. And I'm like, yes, fantastic player. He is amazing at what he does. If they go for him at the trade deadline, I'm going to have a serious talk with management, and I'm going to be pissed off. Baron Browning, you can let go. But this guy has been getting a lot of love. But I feel like this week I haven't heard that many people talking about him. And it's the one, the only, Zach Allen. He has been just an absolute stud. Let's be completely real when it comes to him. He is a monster, you guys. Every single play when the defense is out there, it feels like he is there time and time again. He is getting close on Bryce Young or Justin Herbert, whoever it's going to be that he's having to go after, and he's within inches of getting there. Just an absolute monster. He manhandled Damian Lewis for the Panthers literally the entire game. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. He was out there. Now, if you watched Coffee Break yesterday, James Palmer was on with me, and he was talking about how the D-line essentially feels like they can just beat up on any offensive line. By the time the second half comes along, he's like, it feels like they are mentally exhausted. Go watch that episode. It's a really, really good episode, you guys. James gave a lot of insight into his conversation with John Franklin Myers. So I truthfully believe that it's just really good, but it does feel like they're beating up time and time again. The physicality is out there, and just, it's so fun to watch. It's so fun to watch a good defense, okay? It makes me go back to the Super Bowl days where it was like, this defense can beat up an absolutely anybody. And not that I'm going to compare these two, but I am having those same sort of feelings of like, all right, outman them, outpower them week and week again. And so it's just been fun. So I'm excited about it. But I just felt like Zach Allen needed a little bit of praise on this Wednesday, because he has been absolutely outstanding. I'm surprised he didn't have a sack, actually, because he was this close on so many plays when I went back and watched all of the film. The other thing I feel like is just very noticeable, and we've talked about it time and time again this week, Monday, Tuesday, even this morning, is Bo Nix. We finally saw his arm. Like, how happy were you guys to actually see Bo Nix use his arm, not just his legs? I've talked about this. I've said this story time and time again, is I was frustrated. I'm over in Switzerland, you guys. It's beautiful in Switzerland. And I'm waking up every single morning frustrated, because what are all the highlights on Monday morning? Oh, they're talking about Bo Nix and how he was able to use his legs. And I'm like, great. I don't care that he's been able to use his legs. Also, I just realized we're going to fix this real quick. My mic might be a little far away, and you guys are probably like, Rachel, I can't hear you as well. Can you hear me a lot better now? Please let me know yes or no. Hopefully you can. But I was getting so frustrated over there in Switzerland. I was like, why the heck are we talking about Bo Nix's legs? I love that he's running. Don't get me wrong. I love that we're seeing some highlights. But we need to see a quarterback that can throw the ball. And we finally saw it. We finally saw him use his arm. Oh, Heard you fine. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm happy. Thank you guys. But I'm so happy that we're finally seeing him just use his arm. We're seeing the trust in Sean Payton. I was on Colorado Sports Night last night with McMiller over at Fox 31, and he was talking about, do you think that Sean Payton finally has that trust in Bo Nix? And I think that trust has been there pretty much the entire time. I feel like, yeah, there was some like rookie ebbs and flows that they were going through, but Sean Payton said it. You're in 8 weeks through the NFL. You're no longer a rookie. And I kind of agree with that statement. Like, we can use being a rookie as an excuse to the ebbs and flows and the roller coaster that we're seeing. But overall, they're not. They've seen 8 different defenses. They're going out there and having to adjust every single week. But finally seeing some consistency in the arm is what we're really going to have to pay attention to, especially with 2 good defenses coming up here in the next few weeks. Like, the Ravens and the Chiefs are both really, really good teams. Now, of course, offensively, they're greater than with their strengths and their defensive side of things, but it's going to be really interesting. But I'm just finally happy that we finally saw Bo Nix's arms. Now, I'm going to pull up actually a screen share real quick for you guys, because we need to talk about this guy. And I want to do it this way. Okay. Let's talk just a little bit about Courtland Sutton. I've loved getting to watch Courtland Sutton. Also, I realized you guys can't even see me. So, uno momento, por favor. How can I do this? Let's see. We'll just do it this way. That's fine. Okay. Stoked about Courtland Sutton and how he got his 100 yards. It makes me so happy. I really want Courtland Sutton to succeed, which is why I kind of got even on James Merrillat on Monday, on Coffee Break for Merrillat Monday, because he's like, he's not a wide receiver number 1. And it's like, I want him to be that so bad. And I'm hopeful that he can make it to that point at some time. I just need to understand the game plan real quick around this. 8 receptions, 11 targets, 100 yards. Absolutely love that. But what about the numbers right below it? 0 targets. Like, why? I'm not sure. Was he just not getting open? Like, I feel like I need to go back and watch the Saints tape, but I'm just so confused on that whole thing when it comes to the game plan for Courtland Sutton. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, we're seeing like some consistency in the weeks prior, but I'm just so confused on why we have the 0 and 0 here. But I am happy to see this too. And we're seeing the connection with him and Bo Nix get a lot better, which is great. I felt like for the first couple of weeks, even though nobody actually wanted to admit it, it felt like throughout training camp in the first couple of weeks of the season, that connection was lacking so much. And no one wanted to admit it because he missed out on mini camp and all of those times, but it was definitely lacking. So I'm so happy that it finally feels like that connection is there. Devon Bailey and him have such a good connection when it comes to Bo Nix, obviously. And then little Jordan Humphreys. I wish it was Tim Patrick. I'm sorry. I think that was a bad move letting Tim Patrick go. We're seeing what he's doing with the Lions. It was a bad move, but I'm just happy that there is a connection building with the wide receivers and the Broncos. The next point I want to make actually, though, is about how crazy it is that somebody we were so high on last year, talking about making that next step, has now dropped so significantly when it comes to the wide receiver room. Now, of course, we'll go over to the wide receivers over here. Right, you got Courtland Sutton, Michael Bandy, Troy Franklin, little Jordan Humphreys, Marvin Mims, A.T. Perry, like random. I know he's on there, but still random. Josh Reynolds obviously has been hurt. We can't wait to see him get back out there. David Stills, he's there. Devon Bailey. Marvin Mims Jr. We were all so high on him. And all of a sudden, it feels like he's irrelevant when it comes to this. He had the wide open catch, and it went through his hands this past week. And it right before halftime, too. Like, it would have set them up for field goal range. And unfortunately, it was just such a drop. But he's just gone so far down on the wide receiver list. And it's actually kind of shocking to me that it is crumbled the way that it crumbled. In training camp and in mini camp, we saw the frustration really start to build with him. But it's like he was never able to overcome the hurdle that we saw when it came to Marvin Mims and everything he was going through. I don't know if it's a mental hurdle. I don't know what it is, but we just saw him time and time again not be able to overcome it. And he's done a great job with returning punts for any time he's had to. But as for being actually a part of the wide receiver game, it feels like he's non-existent and it's just some sort of hurdle. I feel like for a long time we talked about the Javonte Williams hurdle when it comes to the running back position and how was he ever going to overcome it. And I feel like this hurdle for Marvin Mims is way, way, way more than what Javonte was going through. And I kind of feel a little guilty saying that, but it just feels like there's nothing there. I mean, the fact that all of these regular season stats mean he's the 150th plus player or worse is crazy to me compared to how high we were talking about him not too long ago. Also, it's also crazy that literally, hold on. Let me go down here. 1 reception, 2 targets, 8 yards with how bad the Panthers defense was. I'm not going to try and like dog on them too hard real quick, but you guys, the Panthers defense was terrible. Truthfully, they should have scored close to 35, 40 points against them. So it's a little concerning that they didn't. But of course, we saw some of the turnovers, which is why Sean Payton was so pissed off about it. They were terrible. The fact that they play so far off of players was like, I was rewatching the game, just unbelievable. Like, what the heck? I don't even have words, actually, because I was like, this doesn't even make sense why you're doing this. You're playing zone so hard that you are literally so far off of guys that you are making it easy for players to move. I don't know. And also, how weird was it to see Josie Jewell out there? Like, I don't know. I forgot that he played for the Panthers for so long. And then when I saw him the other day, I was like, holy smokes, I totally forgot about this guy. And yeah, there it was. I don't know. It was just weird. Like, did you guys remember that Josie Jewell played there? I want to get to some more of the comments real quick. Let's get to this one. We need to see what A.T. Perry can bring to the Broncos offense. I don't know if we will see all that much. I feel like now that things are starting to click, the Broncos are really going to stick with that. So I would be shocked if they switched anything up. Then again, they totally switched it up on the tight ends, right? And what I thought was really interesting is Sean Payton did bring up the fact of, like, it wasn't actually the game plan to get the tight ends involved. They were just open and available. And so Bo Nix made plays on the open and available guys. That was interesting to me that it wasn't a part of the game plan. With such we talked about it on Denver Sports Daily today, on such a tight end heavy fan favorite type of league we're in right now, the fact that we're not getting more involvement from the tight ends is just kind of crazy to me. So yeah. Josie Jewell still can't cover tight ends. That's a funny comment right there. I forgot as well that Josie went to the Panthers. Trader, LOL. It was just like so random. The way it all happened was just so random. So I think that is really, really funny. I can tell you guys want to talk so much about the Ravens, which I'm totally down for as well. And again, I think this is something else we're going to see. I think this week up against the Ravens, where I was watching back the Panthers game, there was an emphasis on Bo staying in the pocket. I think there was a really big one of like, what can you do? Which is why we saw the sack and him not be able to move his legs as much. But I think this week is going to be the prime test of the balance between running and staying in the pocket and how well can you do it. And if there's one person we know that can do it really, really damn good, it's Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. And I think it's going to be a battle between who can balance this out even a little bit more. We know that Lamar can run. I mean, that's not a shock to anybody. He's kind of created this own sort of league for himself in the fact that he is capable of running. And I saw one of the comments is like, if Lamar wants to run, we have to hit him hard. And it's stop Henry, and then you have to watch Jackson, right? Because he is so mobile. And he's fun to watch. I love watching Lamar Jackson. I'm so excited for this matchup because I'm excited to see what the Broncos defense is able to do. And they force Lamar Jackson to have to throw the ball and not use his legs as much. And so that's where I kind of have that same connection with Bo Nix of like, all right, I want to see Bo throw the ball. I want to see him throw the ball. Like, let me make that very, very clear. But if he can, will he use his legs and extend the play again by going out of bounds and not trying to extend the play too much to the fact that he gets hurt, which I've been very, very critical for as well. Let's see. What other points did I really want to make after what I saw from the Panthers game? Oh, another one I feel like we need to talk about is not that people were dogging too hard on Patrick Surtain, but obviously he got scored on after the turnover by the offense. Panthers go down, they score, they go up ahead of the Broncos. Patrick Hand's the one that got scored on. He got pushed off of. So, like, let's make it very clear. He still had really good coverage. He got pushed off of within inches. Unfortunately, the Panthers score, and it is what it is. But his coverage was still really good. He's such an elite cornerback. It's, like, absolutely insane when you actually watch play-by-play how well he defends everything. Like, anytime he gets a flag, you're like, is that really a flag? Or are you just giving it to whoever he's covering? So I just need to give a shout-out to PS2 because, truthfully, he looks so good time and time again. I just want to like read your guys' comments. I also so badly, you guys just want to talk about the Ravens game because it feels like the Panthers game was like whatever. Like, does it really even matter? No, they got the win. Like, should they have played better? Absolutely. Is Sean Payton instilling a confidence in this group and a belief in this group that they have to go out there and be better? Absolutely. And I love that for this group. I'm glad they weren't really celebrating and like trying to go all for it. I'm like, you shouldn't be celebrating beating probably the worst team in the league. Like, you really shouldn't. You should be looking ahead to the next week and saying, all right, we have a really tough test these upcoming 2 weeks. So, yeah, a very big test for Bo and the offense this Sunday. It's going to be massive. It's going to prove so much if they are able to somehow pull out a win. I'm not taking them to. Don't hate me for that. But I do think that it has just a bigger emphasis this week than any other week they've faced so far. Let's see. What else are you guys talking about? Oh, my birthday is Sunday. Happy early birthday. I'm going to my second Broncos game in Baltimore. I hope we get the win. What a B-Day gift that would be. Going is good, but winning, it would be great. I 100% agree. I hope that your birthday when the Broncos play the Ravens was better than mine. If you have not heard this story, I went to the playoff game many years ago when it was like negative 10 degrees and the Broncos lost in the wild card spot to the Baltimore Ravens. We all remember that. And that was my birthday and it was tragic. And I will never forget the Ravens for that. I will never forget Jeff Flacco for it. I will never forget Morris for it. Like, Raheem Morris, I'm sorry, man. I'll never forgive you for that moment. Let's see. Let's talk trade deadline real quick. Thank you for going back and reading that. Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Happy early birthday. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. Sean Payton did say we will find new offensive weapons if our current weapons keep turning the ball over. Yes and no. Okay, here's the thing. Sean Payton is kind of a man of threats. Like, let's just say that. Being his kids would be a little hard because I feel like he would threaten to like take your cell phone away or threaten to take your car keys away and be like, you're not allowed to go. Like, that's Sean Payton in a nutshell. But I think that there is a little bit of a leash when it comes to this. Like, he's not going to bench Cortland Sutton because he drops another pass or has another fumble. Like, that's just not going to happen. We know who Sean Payton likes and we know who Sean Payton doesn't like. It's become very clear. You start to see more guys utilized. You see other guys not get as much time. Marvin Mims, unfortunately. And that's just kind of how it is, to be completely real with you on what Sean Payton does. He's very straightforward when you think about it. Like, yeah, he does kind of play mind games when he's talking to you, but he tells you exactly what he thinks. He's pretty mind forward. I mean, we can go back to the obvious one of just like, play better. You don't want us to score on you? Play better. Stop us. That's it. I love that from Sean Payton so much. But yeah, otherwise, I'm just kind of in a talkative mood today, you guys. Bo will run this week. He will run. He will run. Watson needs an opportunity. Okay, let's talk trade deadline real quick. He doesn't need an opportunity. I'm sorry. I love Javonte Williams, okay? I really do. I want Javonte Williams to succeed in so many ways, but it's not there. And that was my other point from my 10 observations for this week is he's missing something. His speed is not there. He's just running into his blockers. He's not seeing the open gaps. It's just not clicking anymore for Javonte Williams. And unfortunately, I thought it was just early weeks. Give Blake Watson an opportunity because otherwise I think you need to look at the trade deadlines. There's like hardly anyone that's available at the running back position. So I don't really know if you could even make a move, but they need to figure out a running back. Jaleel McLaughlin, don't get me wrong. He's lightning. He's fun. He's good. He cannot be running back number one at this moment, at least in my eyes. Javonte Williams, he's just not there. So Blake Watson, give him an opportunity, see what he can go out there and do. But yeah, otherwise, It kills me because I so badly want Javonte to succeed. But again, why are we running into the backs of your blockers? Like, time and time again. And your speed, even when you get open, you just don't have the speed to be able to make those big plays. It was very, very obvious this past week against the Panthers that this is a bad defense, and we're still seeing the exact same Javonte Williams. So possibly look at the trade deadline if there's any running backs. I need to do a little bit more research on that and see if there's anybody that the Broncos could take. I know people are bringing in a tight end, another tight end. I think Lucas Kroll can be your guy if you let him. Obviously, Greg Dulcich. Oh, time to cut. See ya. You've done nothing. Sorry. See ya. But Adam Troutman, I think, is also solid. Nate Atkins obviously has done some good stuff. But I think you go with Lucas Kroll. He's big. I mean, he's massive. We were talking about him all training camp because he's big and large and he can do that. So I think utilize him to hit the best of his ability, open up his playbook a little bit more. But yeah. Oh, brutal. What else are you guys talking about in the comments? I believe Sean is always one step ahead. We love Sean Payton, don't we? Some people do, some people don't. It's just the thing. All right, that's gonna end it today. I feel like I'm just kind of jibber jabbering. Let me know 10 observations. Obviously, I know you guys liked it in the past. Do you prefer when we just go down the list, or do you prefer me just jambling away? Jambling, that's not even a word. Yep, that's just how today is going. It's so fun to be back. I'm so happy to be back. I appreciate all of the love and support for me taking off those few couple of weeks. I feel so refreshed coming back, which has been really nice. Switzerland, if you ever have the opportunity, please, please, please go, because it is absolutely insane, beautiful. 10 observations, getting thumbs up. Good. I'm happy to hear. But Switzerland's so beautiful. Seriously, if you ever have an opportunity to go, please, please, please go. It's so much fun. Yeah, you guys, I hope everyone has a great rest of your Wednesday. Have a great day, everyone. Great observations, Rachel. Take care, everyone. On that comment right there, we will leave you guys. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow. We got to do our picks, everybody. We're coming back into the pick'em game, so make sure you come hang out with us. We'll talk a little bit more trade deadlines. I'll see if there's anybody else I think the Broncos could possibly try to pick up in free agency. We'll talk about that. Is there any guests that you want to see us have? Actually, before we all leave, real quick, is there any guests? We have so many great media members when it comes to the Buffs, when it comes to the Broncos, Avs, Nuggets, all of those. Like, leave me a list for people that you're like, I would love to see you have a conversation with them. We're so lucky because we do have great people here in the media that I would love to bring on some more guests as well. Or if there's anybody that you want to hear opinions from down at 104.3 The Fan, would also love to do that. So, yeah, go Broncos, of course. And we will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.